want to support the platform just in case anything like this happens again, you can do it by way of PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and also by the Anchor. And you can also further support the platform by way of going to the Teespring store or the shoe store that is located in the comment section below.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Lie on them, or you get police who engage in misconduct, so they arrest people for no reason, and now you're part of that. You're part of criminalizing men who haven't done anything, and then ruining their record, ruining their employment prospects. And women do this a lot, sometimes men, but women do retaliate a lot through the law, falsely. TROs, temporary restraining orders, they get that over an argument. Hurt the man's future, hurt his career. They don't understand. When you go into court, TRO, the prosecutor is going to give you one just by request to prevent the risk that something might happen. So all you got to do, I want to tell no ladies this because then they'll go in and do it when they want to retaliate against their boyfriends, but it's because it's enough of that going on. But don't do any of this, ladies who are watching. Do not make these, don't bring the law in on your lie. Don't bring the law in on your lie. Go to.
Now, growing up, it used to be a funny thing, when you're young and you would hear women always talking, oh, if you don't leave me alone, I'll call the police on you again. I'll call the police, all this type of stuff. You would just, laugh, not actually having a full understanding of, how hurtful and detrimental stuff like that is. And listening to this clip, I didn't know that there was a thing that is immediately offered, um, to women when it is that they happen to, call the police, and it's used as a preventative, as a what if, something happens. And I also didn't know that this would also have an effect on those men as well. Because, in a sense, that's like building a case. Because when, police or anybody happens to see it, they'll be like, yo, you've had this, thing, a multitude of times. And, they look at you and they treat you different. Right? If you're a person who, well, I'll say it like this. It used to be at a time where if you were a person that had a clean record, you wouldn't really get messed with. But now it's like it just seems like it don't matter. But if you're a black man and you have one of these things, basically set upon you by way of a black woman because she was in her feelings or she decided to fabricate, some type of lie, the police are going to act differently towards you. You might end up seeing more aggressiveness, right? Versus what normally would have been presented. And, the same thing as Judge Mathis stated, yo, black women, stop doing this. Just because you're directly in your feelings or you disagree with how somebody is talking or words being used, or if it's an argument, if it ain't nothing that is like really like, yo, your life is threatening or he's really about to, if it ain't none of that, like, why sit up there and do this? Why sit up there and do this? And the main thing that I keep telling a lot of black women is like, y'all don't understand how much, things can hurt or harm guys because you're not a guy. And also because there's not a reverse for you. There's not a reverse version of this where it's going to be detrimental and harmful to, your way of life, either by way of police showing up or by way of, in a sense, establishing some type of record against said person. Y'all don't know what that's like. Because 9 times out of 10, if a man gets into an argument with you, he ain't about to be, in his feelings like, yeah, I'm about to call the police. I'm about to make up a lie and say da 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 and say you did this and you did that. We're not about to, like, it's not even worth all that. And we already know, how the police are. We already know how, things can derail into something vastly different that we didn't want to happen. So we would never, try to do something like that. But on the other hand, these are the things that happen. And this isn't me saying this. This is by way of Judge Mathis. He's a judge. This is a brother who has been in law for years. Like the brother went from being a gang member towards being a judge. Like, yo, that's a success story. And especially, being in Detroit, that's a success story. So, like I said before, ain't nobody lying here. So if you can't specifically handle the truth or what is being said, then you might as well just exit out the conversation because it ain't for you, it's for adults. And it's for the ones that are willing to actually make an effort to make a change, to try to change their behavior so that they don't do things like this, which is going to end up harming a black man either way it goes. Because there is no positive to this. It's just not. Like I said, we go through a lot of things in this community. And to have the police or have this take place on a black man that doesn't deserve it, that's not doing anything wrong, y'all just having like some words and argument, whatever it is, it ain't nothing physical, it ain't nothing life threatening, like, yo, it's crazy, it makes no sense doing this. It makes no sense doing this. But when you look at it, it does make sense, because 9 times out of 10 you'll have women that are in their emotions, they're in their feelings. So whenever a woman is in her feelings and in her emotions, whatever she does during that point is 1,000% right. It doesn't even matter if God told the woman that you are wrong, she's still going to be looking up at God and be like, I'm right, you can't tell me nothing. That's what it's going to be. And that's the most dangerous part about the whole situation, thinking that you're right based off of feelings versus facts. Craziness. 100% craziness. Like, this is yet again, you know, on top of a bunch of other things that always gets talked about. This is another reason why you have black women in general getting a bad rap, because you have black women, like the example that you saw in the video, doing things like this. You have black women in the community who have literally told black men, just over an argument or just over something simple, you better leave me alone before I call the police. I call the law. I'll get the boys on you. You better leave me alone. And I've seen instances where women will just sit up there and call them. There's some people, there's some houses out there where the police 100% know everybody in that house, and they are well acquainted with both the male and the female of the house, because the woman has called the police a multitude of times. It's to the point where the people are just relaxed. They're coming up there pretty much looking for a plate of food. It's like, hey, we up here again. What y'all cooking? We were up here, just Thursday or Monday or Sunday, and we saw y'all have some roast. What y'all cooking? Like, it's gonna be that type of conversation. It's gonna be the most laid back conversation. But the whole point of the matter is, the police are being called. The police are being called. In every situation that the police are called to stuff like that, it ain't gonna end up the same. Sometimes it's Russian roulette on if you'll end up with officers that'll be laid back and nonchalant or whatever it is, or you'll just have the other ones that are just on that type of time. But it is what it is. Like I said, I try to bring you guys proof of the things that I happen to talk about so that y'all can understand what it is, and why it is that I'm saying the things that I state. And again, there are some things that black men can fix, and there are a lot of things out here that black women need to fix. Using the police because you're emotional and being an unstable creature at the time is ridiculous. There is no justification for that at all. And this type of thing in the black community needs to stop.